and welcome to the Divorce Women's Guide podcast, where we talk about the things us divorcees are thinking, but not always talking about, as we turn our divorce into the best gift we've ever been given. And I do so with a little bit of sass and a whole lot of class. I am your host, Wendy Sterling, founder of the Divorce Rehab. I am here to support you in this transition phase of your life so you can start your new best chapter on your own terms. After all, that's what I did after my own divorce. And now it is my mission to change the conversation around divorce and help you see why your divorce, like mine, was the best gift you ever received. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Divorce Women's Guide podcast. How are you guys doing today? I am doing fantastic, and I wanted to come in here and talk to you guys a little bit about victim mentality, something we all suffer from as we're going through divorce. But I want to talk to you guys today around some steps, 5 specifically, that will help you guys shift out of victim mindset and to start seeing the silver lining in your life, which to me means ultimately starting to stand in your power. So obviously, when something unforeseen or unexpected happens, right, like divorce, so for some reason, we all decide to automatically purchase and buy that ticket to Doomsville, right? And we're not usually ready to check out until sometime later, right? So while we are letting ourselves sort through a lot of these feelings and disappointments, which are absolutely necessary, and as you all know, divorce recovery is my specialty, so that is very much what I help my clients and guide my clients through. There is still a way for you guys to start that process by looking for silver linings, or as I like to, I call them silver linings, but it's really about finding the positives when all we can think about is the negative, or even in negative situations. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally get it. It might seem impossible when you're still in this place of anger and resentment and bitterness and being sort of, kicked in the gut. But by holding on to the knowledge that there is some positivity in this situation, which I know for some of you is really hard to see. But for those of us that are on the other side, you've heard many of my guests, you have heard me say how there is so much good, how my divorce was a gift. I was able to start gleaming, right? Having a glimpse of positivity into my situation as I was sorting through a lot of the disappointments that came with my marriage coming to an end. And what that enabled me to do is to really climb myself back onto my feet, right? Very slowly, baby steps. And it started to become easier, right? When you break things down into smaller pieces, you get a lot farther instead of trying to just go from the ground up. That takes so much more energy than just 1 foot at a time. So why is that? Well, it's because you know that you get to be in control of the situation, and a positive attitude will only encourage you to get things back on track so much faster rather than letting life beat you down, right? Letting your divorce win. And while I always say it's not about winning or losing, you do have the power to overcome the situation. So how do you find positivity when negativity strikes, right? The trick is to look past the situation, right? And to acknowledge how it can still bring forth some rewards and opportunities. And oftentimes we might feel stubborn in our emotions and not want to look for the good because we're hurting, right? So what good can we find? At least that's what we tell ourselves. And instead we hold on to the pain, we hold on to the fears. But there is an opportunity for you guys, and I'm going to talk about 5 steps that I share with a lot of my clients. So step number 1 is, I say this all the time, which is to own your side of the street, own your shit, and accept responsibility for your part in your marriage breaking down. So someone who identifies with the poor me stance of victim mindset, or who sees themselves as helpless and powerless, you tend to deny responsibility for the circumstances that you find yourselves in. And you also stay in a place where you think that you don't have the power to change it. Well, truth bomb, guys, you do. So, what do you need to do that? Well, you got to dig your feet in deep, root yourself, okay? And find the courage deep inside to want to fight back from that victim mindset. So, here are some questions that you guys can answer yourselves, right? The first question is, what is it that you can accept responsibility for in your marriage falling apart, right? Some of the things that I talk about is I got to take responsibility for how I showed up. I got to take responsibility for being a really poor communicator. I got to take responsibility for having conversations in my head. How many of you tell stories all the time, all day long in your head, and then you get mad at your spouse when you haven't even verbalized anything, right? So think about right now, what do you want to take responsibility for? What do you get to take responsibility for? Because the sooner you do, the sooner you acknowledge it and name it, the power comes out from it, and there's less charge underneath it, right? Another question you ask yourself is, what is the role you got comfortable playing in your marriage? Right? We created our own circumstances, you guys. I hear so many people say, well, he never did this and he never did that. And why didn't he know? Well, guess what? It's because you always did it. You always did everything. So you created that life for yourself and for your spouse. And then all of a sudden you start to get mad at him or her for it, right? I did that, you guys. And that was something that I also got to take responsibility for, right? And what do you own about yourself, right? I had to own that I was bitter and angry. I got to own that I was unhappy, but I didn't know how to communicate it because I was so terrified if I did what his reaction would be, right? What do you own about you? And I know that this is hard, you guys, and I'm sure that it's probably bringing up some feelings of discomfort, but don't blame yourself, okay? It's not about pointing the finger inside, right? It's about doing the opposite. It's about understanding how it is that you now get to shift, right? So if there's a way that you showed up or a situation you aren't proud of, how you acted, and trust me, you have beaten yourself up about it long enough, okay? And what you get to do with that information is learn from it, right? Look at the silver linings, right? And I bet you will act differently now, knowing what you do. When we know how it is that we showed up, we get to shift, we get to change, right? So if you agree to let it go, write it down, say it out loud. I will let go of what, right? Take the lesson, give the gratitude for what was learned, and absolve yourself from the guilt. It's enough already. I'm giving you permission, but you need to give it to yourself, okay? Hey, it's Wendy here. I wanted to take a quick break from the conversation to let you know about another free event I'm hosting on Tuesday, September 29th about divorce and narcissism. If you're somebody who is divorcing a narcissist or someone with narcissistic characteristics, this is something you don't want to miss. You will learn what you need to know before you divorce a narcissist, how to successfully negotiate with one, learn financial hacks, how to set boundaries and co-parent with a narcissist, and so much more. The event is free and it's live, and all you have to do is register today by visiting divorceandnarcissism.com. Again, the event is live on Tuesday, September 29th, so block your calendar today. And now let's jump back into the conversation. Number 2 is to become aware of your negative self-talk, inner critics, right? Challenging any mindset or point of view that we have told ourselves or identified with since probably our first memory, right? Childhood, is usually for protective services, right? We're protecting ourselves and we believe that we are creating safety. However, what is important to understand is that it's just that. It's one point of view. And that point of view is from a victim mindset. Someone I know you do not want to be anymore. See, victim mentality is actually caused by our circumstances from our past and believing lies that we have been telling ourselves or stories that we have been telling ourselves that are not based on facts. And typically they're because of an experience that we had prior, right? Or what somebody else may have done that we took a lesson from. Would you believe me if I told you guys right now that by having this mentality, you're actually attracting situations that keep you in victim mindset? Think about it. What you think, you create. So by doing what I said, number one, right? Owning your shit, taking responsibility. By doing number one, you're coming to terms with what it is that, you did, how you showed up. You're freeing yourself from it and allowing yourself to receive happiness, feel more joy, and be present, right? So use phrases instead of I failed, it's our marriage failed, or I'm not lovable. Turn that into he doesn't deserve my love. Give yourself permission to shift your perspective and choose phrases that are factual, okay? And write them down. I'm big on writing things down. I'm big on journaling. A lot of you guys know that, okay? Number 3 is mindfulness, okay? I love this word, and it was actually introduced to me, the true definition of it, by my dear friend Jory Rose, who has the Journey Forward podcast. And she is an incredible therapist and mindfulness coach. She's amazing. And what I learned from her is mindfulness is really acknowledging your thoughts and not placing judgment on them, right? So practice knowing what it is that you are feeling or experiencing while you are actually experiencing it, and the practice of knowing what we believe while we're believing it, right? But not placing judgment. So when you guys think about all the stories that you're continuously telling yourself, are you believing them? Yes, you are, right? And that's why you perpetuate them. We stay stuck in story. I can't tell you guys how many times I get on calls, or if I'm doing, Facebook Lives in my Facebook group, the Divorce Rehab, how many times when people start talking, they go straight into story. And I immediately stop them because you've been telling yourself that for too long. And as far as I'm concerned, it's an excuse. So stop telling your story, because all it is your story. It is a story. So what if I told you guys right now that you have the power to change your story, to change your point of view? So when you choose to think differently about yourself, when you choose to act differently, when you engage with the world differently, the world suddenly becomes your oyster. Opportunity starts appearing, right? I said this before. Your mind is very powerful, you guys. What you think, you create. And you get to learn to find your voice and make different choices and to own them, right? How to solve your own problems versus constantly looking outward. That's something that I did, that I got to learn. And you get to find your own inner strength and voice and see your true potential. That really does start with mindfulness, acknowledging your thoughts and your voice and not judging them, and let them be what they are, but then also having the power to shift, standing in your power, right? There's a quote from one of my favorite movies growing up, which is The Wizard of Oz, which is, when the good witch says to Dorothy, "You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself." And the more you tell yourself these words, you guys, and believe them, okay, not just say them, but truly embody them, the more powerful and in control of your life you're gonna start feeling, okay? Number 4 is give yourself the gift of gratitude and compassion, okay? There is something to always be grateful for every single day. Yes, we are living in a COVID world. There is a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I live in California. The fires are rampant. We had, I'm in Southern California. We even had an earthquake last week, but there's always something to have gratitude for, right? Instead of focusing on, oh my God, California is burning down, I got to celebrate that there was blue sky today. I got to celebrate the fact that I get to spend a weekend with my boys, right? There's always gifts in your life. Choose to focus on those, right? So as you're starting to heal the parts of yourself that are, affected by your divorce, you then get to spend more time, right? As you're doing these steps, as you're doing the healing work, you get to spend more time looking at the positive things in your life, right? And seeing how it is that you get to shift and do something different, think something different, right? I want to impart with you guys, like, I'm really big on mantras. And one of the ways that I like to sort of impart gifts to my clients is through sharing some things that I say to myself, right? One of the things that I used to say a lot to myself, and sometimes it comes up, I have bad days too, you guys. I will say to myself, I am not my past. My past is not who I want to be anymore. I get to change. I have the power to change. And I will let myself off the hook moving forward, right? What are some mantras that you want to say to yourself that keeps you in a place of gratitude and having compassion, right? What lessons have you truly learned from your divorce? What are some of the blessings in it? Okay, think about the positives. And some of you might be saying, oh, there's no positives. Yes, there are. You're just not willing to do the work, right? You're allowing those inner critics to have power over you. It's your ego. They're not protecting you. And it's okay for you to see positives in this. It doesn't make you a bad person. Okay, divorce has such a negative connotation in this world. It really drives me crazy. But divorce is actually an opportunity for everybody to stand in their power, to find their voice, to find their identity for the first time. Sometimes that's the lesson we get to have. So allow yourself, give yourself the okay, right? I allow myself to be free of my past. I get to be free of my past. I get to move into this next stage of my life with grace. And I know it's possible because there's nothing different between me and you. I've done it, and I know that you get to do it too. I see and believe in you wholeheartedly. So what's coming up for you guys as I've been saying this? Ask yourselves, what's coming up? And the reason I ask is because number 5 is all around setting intentions, right? If you're not willing to have gratitude or to see gratitude in your life, to give yourself compassion, it makes it really hard to set future intentions, right? Because being a victim really keeps you in your mind in the past. You're looking in the rearview mirror. But taking the 1 through 4 steps that I've mentioned above will really allow you the opportunity to step into this present moment. Honor it and honor you, right? Say these words to yourself right now. I am ready to move on with my life right now. I get to move on with my life right now, right? I am no longer putting energy into my inner critic. I am no longer listening to my inner critic or my negative self-talk. I give energy back to me, right? What other intentions do you get to set for yourself, right? Journal about it. What intentions will make your life mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially different, right? What will shift all those areas? What small step do you get to take in one area of your life? Take it day to day, right? Day to day, what does one step forward look like? It doesn't have to be big. There's celebrations in the little, but you get to take control of that step and allow yourself to discover your strength of power, standing in your power and giving yourself clarity, right? I bet the universe will rise up and meet you there. I know that it will because it responds, it listens to you. If you are talking negatively, that is what you're going to get. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, you guys. The universe will provide. It will show you an abundance of new opportunities, of happiness, of joy, of ideas, of energy when you feed it positivity. But if you keep feeding negativity, you guys, you're going to stay in victim mindset. I say my divorce had so many silver linings. And it wasn't until I went through all of these steps above that I was able to fully stand in my power and start shifting and seeing the shifts happen in my life. It happened in my ways of being. It happened in my career. I started my business. I left corporate America. I'm a better mother. I am a better daughter. I'm a better sister. I'm a better friend. I know you guys have the power to do this. I want this for you guys. I want this for you, and I am no different than you. So I would love to hear your feedback. Share with me what you thought about this episode. Share with me what some of the answers were to the questions that I encouraged you guys to answer for yourselves. And just every day, try to see a silver lining. Try to see the positivity. You get to do that. It's a gift, and stand in your power. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. If you guys will share with me, wendy@wendysterling.net. I would love to hear from you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorced Woman's Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, please share this episode with someone you know or spread the word on social media. This is how I reach more divorcees around the world and provide them with the support they need to create their next best life. And I would also love to continue the conversation with you. So please friend me on Facebook, join my private Facebook group, The Divorce Rehab, and follow me on Instagram @Divorce Rehab with Wendy. I'll see you next time.